He is your Attorney General, Andrew Bailey. He comes on once a month to fill you in on all the battles he's fighting. And I literally think he's a samurai warrior with some of the stuff he's getting done. Good morning, Andrew.
Hey, good morning, Fawn. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for coming. Now, you are getting stuff done, man.
We've been busy. I tell you, it's been a whirlwind of a couple of years in office, but I'm excited about the future and the wins we continue to deliver for the people of the state of Missouri.
Yeah, especially this China and COVID thing. I couldn't believe it. So you're going to go after their farmland or whatever. If they don't pay, we're going to take, right?
That's absolutely right. Look, we have a $24 billion judgment that we won against the Chinese Communist government for the injustices they inflicted upon the people of the state of Missouri during COVID. Amen. And I'm never going to stop fighting to protect Missourians. China owes Missouri $24 billion. There's a system under the law. It's called the Foreign Sovereign Immunities Act. That was the statute that allowed us to raise these claims to redress our grievances against China. We put on our case, put on our evidence, and proved it up. And at this point, the judge has signed an order. We will identify assets owned by the Chinese Communist government. And that statute, the Foreign Sovereign Immunities Act, allows us to then go to court and get court orders to have those assets seized and sold to make good on that judgment.
I love that. So when does that happen? How long do they have to respond?
Well, the lawsuit was actually filed by my predecessor, Eric Schmidt, in 2021, and the trial court dismissed the lawsuit. And so in my first few months in office, I appealed and fought it all the way to the 8th Circuit Court of Appeals, who sided with the state of Missouri, agreed with me, reinstated the lawsuit. And we went to court in January and put on our evidence. And what we proved was that China knowingly created the pandemic and then knowingly inflicted it upon the people of the state of Missouri and the entire world, for that matter, lied to the world about it, created the necessary medical equipment to respond to the pandemic, and then hoarded that equipment and deprived Missouri of access to the necessary medical equipment, and thus damaged Missouri to the tune of $24 billion. China was served with process. In other words, they had notice and an opportunity to defend themselves in our court system against this lawsuit. They failed to do so. They didn't even show up. That's how little they think of these United States of America. And so we won the $24 billion judgment and are now waiting for that judgment to become final this week. And then we'll set about identifying those assets owned by the Chinese Communist government and going to court to get orders to have those seized and sold. So it's going to be a process. It's going to take time. And look, $24 billion is the largest judgment in the history of the state of Missouri that the state has won by a multiplier of 6. And so it's going to be a lengthy process that is going to require battles in court, but we're up to the challenge. We've been fighting and winning and aren't going to stop now.
I love this so much, and I love that I don't want China to own any farmland in Missouri. The fact that they do, or the fact they own anything in the United States, kind of bothers me. But I do understand that other countries are allowed to build factories here and do business here or whatever. But when you release a disease that literally kills people, you got to be held accountable. So you have also asked Elon to dig in a little bit on something that's going on in Missouri. And if anything's popular right now, Andrew, it's Doge.
That's right. Yeah, look, I mean, that's an important line of effort that President Trump has empowered Elon Musk to do, which is to find efficiencies in government. Stop wasting our taxpayer dollars. Yeah. We want a government product that works for the people because we, the people, are the government. If I had a product as broken as the government that I bought from Walmart, I would take it back and get my money back. And that's what Doge is doing, is returning fraudulent and wasted money back to the taxpayers and eliminating the waste and abuse of our governmental system. Look, there's a company that is trying to use Missouri as a corridor to run transmission lines from the East Coast to the West Coast. They're not going to do anything to help Missourians except take our land to build power lines on it. And that is an abuse of the eminent domain process. And so we're asking the federal government to cancel all the federal loans that would turn Missouri into a power highway for other states, coastal elites.
And they're just eminent domaining. They're not offering sale price or market price for the land that they're going to take?
They do both, but the problem is when they come in and say, look, take the offer or else we take your land from you, even those consensual transactions start to look very coercive. If you know that you're at the point of a gun going to have your land taken away from you, you're more likely to sign the best deal they put in front of you. I don't believe that eminent domain should be abused like that. I think that the founders, including eminent domain process in the Constitution, limited it to where the property was taken for public use. Mm-hmm. Well, this isn't public use. This is a private corporation lining the pockets of coastal elites.
Yeah. It's upsetting, and he has found so much waste, fraud, and abuse that's just been allowed to go on forever and ever because it apparently is okay with Democrats for, Soros and these people to do whatever they want. But when Elon finds something and fights back, they destroy his companies and anybody who's ever bought a car from them. I mean, that used to be the star on the top of their Christmas tree. Now they're keying them and starting them on fire. So have we had any of that happening in Missouri? Do you know?
There have been instances, but the information available in the public domain that I've seen is that the police have responded to those incidences. They're holding wrongdoers accountable. It is a felony offense to destroy private property that exceeds the value of $750. So if you're destroying a Tesla vehicle, that's an expensive piece of private property, and you're going to be held accountable in the state of Missouri. And I'm proud to stand with our law enforcement officials as they investigate and prosecute those cases.
I love it. All right. So Planned Parenthood, they just keep winning. It's like the devil is alive and well, and they just keep coming around and coming back, and it's really starting to annoy me.
Yeah, look, I mean, these people do not have the health and safety of Missourians at the forefront of their attention. Yeah, no, they are more interested in the destruction of human life and the advancement of a radical progressive ideology than in healthcare. They're not a legitimate healthcare entity. Look, if there was any other company that had as many violations of health and safety laws as Planned Parenthood, they would have been run out of the state of Missouri decades ago. But for whatever reason, the courts seem to treat Planned Parenthood differently. And now, after Amendment 3, they have sued the state of Missouri, claiming that they had a constitutional right after the passage of Amendment 3 to traffic minors across state lines for dangerous abortions without parental consent. That's the argument they're making. They have sued the state of Missouri, saying they have a right to traffic your children across state lines for dangerous abortions and don't have to tell you about it. That's the depravity that we're dealing with when we're talking about Planned Parenthood.
And when Missouri voted for this, the people did not read the language of the ballot. They did not read it. They just saw abortion. Yeah, we want that. And they did not read all that it entailed in that ballot measure. And they have unleashed the devil for real.
Well, that's exactly right, Vaughn. And I would submit to you that the drafters of Amendment 3 and the proponents of Amendment 3, like Planned Parenthood, knew what they were doing. They purposely chose vague, ambiguous language to trick the voters of the state of Missouri and then use that as a vehicle to dismantle any health and safety regulations, any health and safety restrictions that are designed to safeguard the health and safety of women and children. And that's what they've done, and they've convinced a judge in Jackson County who's now making decisions striking down the entirety of regime of state law that's designed to protect women and children. So, for instance, Planned Parenthood has said, look, these abortion clinics don't have to have fire escapes, or they don't have to sanitize their equipment if they don't want to. The Constitution protects against that. Well, this is absolute insanity. I mean, again, they're putting human lives at risk, so I would warn anyone in the state of Missouri that's considering these kinds of dangerous procedures to understand that Planned Parenthood is fighting to keep you helpless, to put your life at risk by dismantling and attacking the state's efforts to keep women and children safe.
Yeah, and a lot of times, not only do they not sterilize, the floors are filthy, and sometimes they don't even give you any anesthesia. And I'm telling you, these guys they're butchers. They're butchers.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Vaughn. They've got a documented pattern of using moldy abortion equipment and refusing to comply with the mandatory notifications that the doctors and the medical professionals are supposed to provide to their patients. But again, these aren't medical professionals. Like you said, these are butchers that intend to harm people and destroy life.
All right. Well, let's end on a good note. We have 2 minutes left. Consumer Protection Month. You've kind of got a wrap-up going here. You've secured quite a bit of money for us, and you've done a lot for fraudulent businesses. Just kind of run through that real quick, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, look, I'm proud to be the consumer champion for working Missouri families who are being ripped off by predatory or fraudulent, deceptive business practices. If you've been harmed and been ripped off, call my office, 1-800-392-8222, or go to ago.mo.gov. There's a complaint form and a drop-down menu. We've got investigators standing by to help you. In the first year in office, I recovered more than $32 million in settlements and judgments. That's money put back in the pockets of working Missouri families. Last year was north of $400 million. And so we're doing great work to protect Missourians, and I'm proud of those efforts, and we intend to do more this year.
Yeah, and I mean, it's hard to list everything he's done, even in a monthly interview. He's got so much going on. He is going after the people who would do you wrong and making sure that they pay the price. And for those who are ripping off Missourians, he's also making sure they pay us back. He's Andrew Bailey, your Attorney General. Thanks for talking to us.
Hey, God bless you and your listeners, Paul. Look forward to talking soon.
Okay, bye-bye.